So, yo guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm doing a very different video to what I'd usually do. In fact, I don't even know how I feel about doing this video, because I've never told anyone about this story. Like, even Nicole, who I've been with for a long time now, she doesn't even know a lot of the things that I am about to tell you in this, because I wrote it all down on my notes just so I don't miss anything out. And I just was reading through little bits of it, and I was like, oh, Nee, have I ever told you this? And she was like, never. Oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. Like, this story, these things I've never told anyone. So the people that were like in my life at the time, they know it. Apart from that, no one does. Literally no one has a clue. So basically, diabetes, there's two different types. Type 2 is not what I have, but type 2 is based around your diet. You can get it through your diet, and you can also get rid of diabetes through having a good diet. Or sometimes you have to have tablets and stuff like that, but it's very rarely used with insulin pens, which is what I have to use being a diabetic type 1. Type 1 diabetes pretty much means that your pancreas has stopped working. Your pancreas is your organ that breaks down all of the sugars in your body and puts them in the right places and pretty much looks after you. My pancreas doesn't do that, therefore I have to use these insulin pens. So I have to use this every single time I eat anything. So basically, you take it off. There's no needle on the end of this one because I've just taken this out of the fridge. But I have to put a little needle on the end of this, and then I have to put it in my arm and inject every single time that I eat. Also, every day I have to inject one of these, which is a 24-hour one, which keeps my blood sugars level. And then this one brings it, works with food and makes sure it doesn't go AWOL when I have something that's abnormal or anything. Anything I eat, I have to have one of those. So if you don't look after your diabetes, you can end up getting seriously ill. You can go blind, you can lose limbs, you can go in a coma, which I was actually very close to going into when I was diagnosed, which I will be talking about further into this video. I've had it about 6 years, and to be perfectly honest, I haven't looked after myself, but I've never been honest about that either. I've always just said, yeah, I am looking after myself. Yes, my bloods are right. Everything in my body is fine. I'm doing everything perfect. And then everything changed, and I realized I need to look after myself. I can't afford to get ill. So that's what happened. So yeah, let's get started with the story. Let's go. So I grew up completely normal, completely diabetes free. I played sport a lot. I did whatever I wanted. I ate what I want. I drank what I want. I was quite healthy though. I used to love vegetables. I used to love, like, my favorite dinners was roast dinners. I'd never really have fast food. I rarely had fizzy drinks. But I could afford to have whatever I wanted, but I didn't. I just chose not to. And then 2011 in April was when I was diagnosed, but before that, probably a couple months, I was beginning to notice that I wasn't feeling very well. I was getting ill. I was getting headaches. I was feeling dizzy. But I didn't really tell my mom or my dad about it, because I just thought, oh, I just keep getting this headache, blah, blah, blah. It's probably just from playing on the Xbox, or probably just like where I play fight with my friends or whatever. Like, there was just always these little things that could easily explain the reason that I was getting these headaches and the reason I was not feeling 100%. So I was going to the gym daily as well, which I only just started going to the gym probably early of the year. I used to go with about 4, 5, 6 of my friends. We used to go every day. I used to eat well, and we all ate the similar things, and we all went to the gym the same amount of time. I probably played more football and done more sport than anyone else. But what we found was they were all beginning to build up muscle. I'm not saying they'd become Superman overnight in 6 months, but they were building muscle. Obviously, when you first go to the gym, straight away you do notice a difference. For me, I wasn't noticing anything, and then I was getting skinnier. and I was losing weight, and I was running out of energy so quickly, and the longer I was going to the gym, the less I could do. Like, I was beginning to not be able to lift as much as I could when I first started going, which it just doesn't make sense, because if you're working on something, then you're building your muscles up, you think you'll be able to lift more and more and more. For me, I just got worse and worse and worse, and it was really, really, really upsetting for me. I really lost a lot of confidence from it, because I just thought that I was doing everything wrong. I was doing it the same as my friends, but I was getting skinnier, and I hated it. And I'd never ever felt so exhausted in all my life. I was falling asleep. In class, I fell asleep a couple of times. No matter how hard I tried not to fall asleep, I just kept falling asleep. It got to the point where my school teacher was so worried about me, they rung home to speak to my parents and said to me, is everything okay at home? There's not been like any problems at home? Has he been sleeping properly? You're not arguing or anything like that? Because they could just tell I was a different person. All of a sudden, nothing was working. I was different, because I didn't have the energy I always had, and my confidence went down. My energy went down, I got skinnier and skinnier, I looked really, really ill. It wasn't a good time, not at all. And then it was getting worse. Like, every time I had a drink, I would literally need to go to the toilet within a minute, and I would wee out just as much as I drank. It literally went straight through me, and that was it. It was gone, straight out of my body. And I didn't really tell my mum or dad about that. I just thought that was something that was weird that was going on at the time, but I'd never put all the pieces together to notice there was something seriously wrong with me. I just thought there's loads of things, and there could be loads of little explanations for each thing, and I never put them all together. It wasn't until April in that year where I actually wet the bed. I was 15 years old, I hadn't wet the bed for years and years and years, and I wet the bed. And I was shocked. I was literally like, what the hell? I woke up covered in wee. Literally, I didn't even tell my mum and dad about it. I took all my sheets, I put them in the wash, I had a bath, took them all back out, put them back on my beds and stuff like that, and then I didn't tell them. Next night I went to bed again, exactly the same thing happened. So this time I said to my mum and dad, I told them, well, I just wet the bed, and I don't know why, because I can't hold in a wee. Like, I cannot do it. I have to go for a wee the second I have a drink. So my mum and dad, they just thought I probably had a urine infection or something. So they took me over to the doctors. They wanted a urine sample. I'd done a urine sample, went back home, didn't think anything of it. Went back to school the next day. Absolutely fine, same as normal. I felt tired, I was weaker, obviously my confidence wasn't high, all the same, whatever. But I got home from school, got ready to go and play football with my friends. So I got ready, got 2 buses to go over to play football where I was going to go play football on this day. And it took me about an hour and a half to get there. And then the second I arrive, my mum rings me and goes, right, Casey, I'm coming to pick you up. You need to be rushed to hospital. And I was like, what? Why? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong, I'm fine. And they were like, and my mum was like, no, they need to see you. I don't know why, but they need to see you. We need to rush you in right now, okay? So at this point, I was so scared. I thought I could have, well, I didn't know. I thought anything could be wrong with me. I could have any illness in the world, because I've never heard of being rushed in like that. And I literally rushed in. Got in there, spoke to reception. They were like, oh my God, yep, they're waiting for you down there. Go straight down there. There's no waiting for me, no waiting rooms. Straight in a room, tests on me. I had like finger things all over my hands. I had like blood pressure, blood tests, more urine samples. Like, they're checking my temperature, checking things in my ears, looking at my nose, in my mouth. Everything you could think of, they were doing. And it was so scary. I was so scared. I literally, the doctors were aware of how worried I really was at this point. And they just said to me, don't worry about it. We're just checking because we think you might have diabetes type 1. Well, the second they said diabetes type 1, I didn't know much about diabetes, but oh my God, it felt like a bullet hit me. burst into tears. I had no idea what this was gonna, like, my life was gonna be now, but I was heartbroken. I couldn't stop crying. It was a really hard time. But at this moment, I still wasn't 100% convinced. I thought, no, I can't be diabetic. I'm fine. I play sport every day. I do all these things. I can't be diabetic. So after a few hours, they then took me upstairs, put me in a room, put me in a bed, and I had to go on the drip. And then whilst I was on the drip, they came in and they told me, okay, it is confirmed you do have diabetes type 1. And then it hit me like a brick. I would not stop crying. I was saying to my mum and dad how I'm never going to be loved again. I'm never going to find a girlfriend. How embarrassing, I've got diabetes. Not that I knew much about it. I just thought, well, I just looked at it in the worst possible frame of mind. And I just thought, my life is falling apart. No more sport for me. I'm not going to have a girlfriend. I'm not going to have friends. Like, people are going to be embarrassed to go out with me. Like, imagine them having to see me inject in restaurants and things like that. It's just going to be me and my family, and I'm just going to grow up and be by myself. That's literally how I thought of it. Looking back now, it's ridiculous to think that at the time. But when you get diagnosed with something that you don't know much about, and you just see it from outside and you just hear of it, it's really worrying. It really was really scary. So this is when I got told what I'd have to do to look after myself, that I'd have to inject insulin 4 times a day. It's a disease that will never go away. It's a disease I'm always going to have, and it's something I'm always going to have to look after. Otherwise, these bad things which I spoke about at the start can happen. When they checked my blood at the time, they said it's a really good job I came in when I did, because if I didn't come in now and I left it another month, then odds are I would have gone into a diabetic coma, which obviously isn't. It's really dangerous. So thankfully I went when I did, and I skipped that phase. So they asked me to stay in for the night before they could actually give any full diagnosis of what was wrong with me. So I ended up staying that night, and then that is when they officially said, yes, you have diabetes type 1. And that is when my life I thought my life came crashing down and was over. Literally, I was heartbroken. Well, that was it. For me, my life as I knew it was gone. So they said to me I'd have to stay probably a few nights, maybe 5, 6, 7 nights at the hospital. Not leave the hospital, because they had to teach me how to look after myself and how to treat myself if I was not feeling well, how to treat myself when I'm feeling good, just how to keep everything balanced in diabetes. I had to learn how to check my own blood. I had to check my levels to make sure I inject the right amount of insulin, if there's something wrong, if there's not. Like, I had to learn everything about diabetes, and I had to learn it quick because I was now diabetic. So this whole time I was in the hospital, it was hard for me to get my head around it, because I didn't know what it was going to be like once I left this hospital. Because whilst I was in there, I was looked after and I was feeling okay, and I did begin to feel a bit better whilst I was still in hospital. But being there just made me feel upset, because I knew that my life had changed. I mean, it hasn't changed as much as I thought it was going to change when I was first diagnosed, but it has changed a little bit. And what I want to say to people that are diabetic, or if you ever do get diagnosed, it's not the end of your life. I promise you that. You can live your life exactly the same as anyone else, but you get given an opportunity to live it even healthier, because you monitor what you eat and you monitor what your sugar levels are. So you have an opportunity to properly look after yourself, and you get forced into that situation. So let's just fast forward from the day I left the hospital to about 2 months ago, okay? 2 months ago, I was probably as ill as I was when I first got diagnosed with diabetes. I haven't been looking after myself properly for years. This is for probably 3 years of the 6 that I've been diagnosed. I have not looked after myself at all, really. Like, I check my blood once a month. I meant to check it every single day. I meant to inject 3 or 4, 5 times a day sometimes, and I was injecting maybe once a day. Like, sometimes I'd run out of insulin. I wouldn't have enough insulin, so I wouldn't inject. And my parents were worried, my grandparents were worried, my girlfriend was worried. Everyone was just telling me, you need to sort yourself out, you need to sort yourself out. Because at the moment, I'm fine, I'm healthy. I mean, I didn't feel amazing, but it was all bearable. But when you look at the bigger picture, potentially I can go blind. Potentially I can fall back into a coma. And there's a lot of cases where these things happen. So in December, I had the amazing, incredible news that my girlfriend's pregnant and I'm gonna be her dad. And that took a long time to get my head around as well. Like, I still can't believe it now. Like, I am so happy and so amazed that it's happening. Like, it's crazy. But I didn't change anything. I carried on going as I was, and I was like, I'm gonna be a dad, this is exciting, this is amazing. I've realized now, if I don't look after myself now, how am I gonna be looking after my daughter? How am I gonna be looking after a fully grown adult when she turns into when she's 18 years old, 18 years later of me not looking after myself, and I'm blind, and I've lost my limbs, and I fall into comas, and I live in a hospital. How am I going to be able to look after her? Like, there's no way. So that was my wake-up call. It's a wake-up call that I needed. I'm not saying I had to have a child to be able to look after myself, but it's something that really did motivate me to get healthy again. Because, I mean, everything in my whole life will be better if I just do these simple little things to look after myself. And I know that, and I've always known that, but I thought I'd get away with it because I was just being lazy, pretty much. So from the day that I left the hospital to now, there's still things I haven't really got my head around. There's still things that I still don't like doing in public about my diabetes. Like, I've never really liked checking my blood in public because I have to get a big little case out and get things out and prick my skin and get blood out of me and put it in a machine. It starts beeping and things like that. And I just didn't want to be doing that. I definitely still now, I do it sometimes. Like, if I can't bother to go to the toilet, I'll do it now. But like, I hate pulling my sleeve up like that and having to put insulin into me there, putting a needle straight into me. I always think, well, what if they don't realise that it's just I'm diabetic? What if they think I'm doing drugs or something like that? There are still things I haven't got my head around completely, but I'm still learning and I'm still getting better at looking after myself and at everything to do with diabetes. I'm finally sorting myself out. Another thing I just want to say is, if you get diagnosed with diabetes or you are diabetic and you have any problems like what I was saying, like the injecting in public. Apparently I used to be really out there with injecting. I can't even remember that. Like 6 years ago when I first got diagnosed, I used to just do it like anywhere, like bang, like whatever, like in front of everyone. And for some reason I stopped doing that, and now I feel a bit embarrassed to do it out in public. I don't know why, it's just something that it does bother me a little bit, but I still do it now and I'm getting better at it. So if you do get diagnosed with diabetes type 1, or you have been diagnosed with diabetes type 1, please don't make the same mistake as I did, and don't think your life is over. Don't think it's ruined and nothing's gonna ever go right for you again, because it's not like that. Yes, your life does change a little bit, but we have the power, like thanks to Diabetes UK and different charities like that, we have the power to be able to look after ourselves, because we've got all this stuff that we need to do that. They're still looking for a cure to get rid of diabetes completely, which would be amazing if that happened one day. But for the moment, they haven't got a cure for diabetes, so we have to look after it ourselves. We've got all the gear that we need to be able to look after ourselves by testing our blood, by doing our sugars, by measuring what we're eating and what we're injecting. It makes you more aware of your health. Like, I never even blinked an eyelid at my health. I thought I was the most healthy person on the planet, but I could have been eating and drinking the worst foods in the world. I've been now forced into a position to look at what I'm eating, to look at how many sugars in something, to look how much fat is in something, because I need to look after myself as much as anyone else does. Diabetes does not stop you from being able to do the things that you love. I still play football every single day. I still go out with my friends all the time. I've got a beautiful girlfriend. I'm having an amazing family. Like, everything in my life diabetes has not had an impact on that. All it's done is make me more aware of my health, and also I can still have a slice of cake here or there. Like, I can still get away with one. Like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, if you are diabetic, please don't think your life is ruined. Please, please, please. Because I promise you, we're all gonna be okay. So yeah, diabetes did not ruin my life, and it never will be able to ruin my life as long as I look after myself from now until the day that I die. As long as I look after it, diabetes will not have any impact on my life. Right guys, so that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please smash a big thumbs up. Also subscribe down below if you are new. And if you like this sort of video as well, like I've got a lot of different stories and stuff like that, especially to do with my diabetes and things like that. I've got a lot of them. So if you want to hear more about this, then please do comment down below and let me know what you'd like to know. Let me know what's going on in your life, especially if you are diabetic, if you're type 1 and you have any problems with it. Comment down below and I will try to comment back to as many people as I can. If I could got any advice for you, then I will give it to you. But I honestly am just another person with diabetes, and I am someone who didn't look after myself for a long time as well. So I've now realised that it is time to look after myself, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So comment down below, please do like, subscribe, and I'll see you again with another video on Sunday, which is part of my new series. Bye bye.